Hello, everyone, and welcome to the college football edition of Proline. It's week one of the college season. I'm John Cranton in Las Vegas, joined by world champion handicapper Jim Feist and Jeff Saad, who runs Las Vegas Sports Services. We're going to take a look at a couple big marquee college games going this weekend. But first, Jim Feist, you're off a 4-2 NFL Week 3 preseason, and you were 2-0 with high roller platinums too. That makes you 22-10 with these high rollers in NFL preseason since 2011, and everybody can get on board for the entire month of September, 30 days at a special rate.
I'm pretty excited about what's been going on in baseball and the preseason, although the Pittsburgh Steelers did let me down last week. But we don't win every game. Everybody knows that. That's impossible. But we have a great record, as John says, 22-10 in the NFL, 4-2 last week. The baseball's been incredible. We've got 30 days for $30. That's $1 a day, folks. Just call 1-866-841-1655. Get on board. There's a $500 high roller play included in that package. 30 days, $30. 1-866-841-1655. Because of time constraints, I'm just going to make a couple comments here. College football starts right now. This is it. Totally excited about this. My staff and I have been doing a lot of work on this season. I expect to have a big year, and you want to jump on board. You open up with a couple of big games. You got Georgia, Clemson. We know Georgia's the higher-ranked team. I had them last year, and they played very well. They could have beaten Alabama. It was possible. They got Aaron Murray, great quarterback, one of the best players in the league. But going to Clemson is never easy. And you got to be careful with these road favorites, folks. And of course, you got Florida State going to Pittsburgh. That's another tough spot. There's some really exciting matchups this week for week one. You start on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, big games. It's very exciting. We're looking forward to winning quite often for our customers this week. We got some big plays on tap. You want to make sure you get on board. Just make that phone call to 1-866-841-1655. And back to you, John. We're going to have a big season.
All right, thanks, Jim. And, all right, Jeff, let's look at our first game. We've got a big marquee non-conference game coming up on Saturday. Georgia Bulldogs at Clemson. Georgia, 2.5-point favorite, open now down to 1.5 Clemson, and the total is 73, bet down now to 71. You got the ACC against the SEC, money coming in on their home dog here. And remember, this is a revenge game, too, because Georgia, powerhouse team a year ago, had only one regular season loss. Well, that was when they went to South Carolina and they got destroyed 35-7. That's the game that they have on deck. It's not only their SEC opener, but it is a revenge game. So I could see possibly why the money is moving the right way on the home dog here. How do you see it?
Well, when I first looked at it, I was going to stay away from the game. It's just too close to call. But I really liked the over. I thought it was going to be a shootout. Then the line came out at 72, and I said, well, that's pretty high for a line. So I might lay off this game completely now. Georgia, of course, has a tremendous offense. They return 8 starters, including, of course, Aaron Murray. Aaron Murray last year, 36 TDs, only 10 interceptions, nearly 3,900 passing yards. They do have to do a little rebuilding on defense. They only have returned 4 on defense and only 1 on the line, but there's still lots of talent there. But the only thing is they have to come together quick because they have Clemson, South Carolina, and LSU. 3 out of the first 4 games are against those teams. Clemson, of course, another great offensive team with Taj Boyd. The wide receiver Sammy Watkins is back. Hopefully he'll play a full season. Last year he had some discipline problems, missed a few games. I did lose DeAndre Hopkins to the NFL. Defense was a huge improvement last year, and they returned 7 starters from that unit. This game, one thing about Clemson, though, they do have 3 new offensive line starters. That could be an issue. But right now, this game, it should be a tremendous game, and it should be high scoring. I would lean to the over, but it's a high number 2. But if I had to pick anything, I would go take the game to go over, John.
Okay, I'm going to take a look at the total in this game. I see it a little bit differently. Everybody, including the odds makers, are looking at the offensive talent and the wide open attacks of both these teams, and it's all very real. But boy, like you said, when they came out with a total of 73, I thought that was too high. And let's look for a moment at how underrated these defensive teams are. This Georgia Bulldogs team, they have to replace 8 starters, but they have been a fantastic defensive team, a talent machine. Last 2 years, they've allowed 20.6 to 19.6 points per game. Mark Richt has another talented defensive line, a young line, but very talented coming in. And Clemson, while their offense got all the accolades, boy, this defense made great strides last year under defensive coordinator Brent Venables. They finished third in the ACC in points allowed. They piled up 2.6 sacks per game, which is a terrific upgrade from the year before. And plus, as you mentioned, they lost wide receiver DeAndre Hopkins to the NFL. Many times in week 1 in early September, you're looking at defenses being ahead of the offenses. I kind of see that in this game. And when these teams met, well, I should say the last time they met was 10 years ago, 2003. Okay, that was a long time ago, but still, Mark Richt was there with a very talented offense, and the Clemson head coach, Bowden, he ran similar aggressive up-tempo offensive styles. Total on that game was 50. Georgia ended up winning it as a 3-point favorite, 30-0. So that game went 20 points under the total. I'm not going to call for 30 total points being scored in this one, but being 20 points under the total, I think that's realistic, being in week 1. And there's quite a few trends that point that way, too. The Clemson Tigers, 27-14 run under the total the last 4 seasons. When the Georgia Bulldogs play on grass, their last 6 games, 6-0 under the total, and their last 5 road games, 4-1 under the total. I don't anticipate this being quite the 38-34 shootout that the odds makers are kind to look at. Okay, Jeff, we have another game, which is on Monday night. Boy, a fascinating marquee matchup. Florida State against Pitt. A lot of money movement here. Florida State opened 7.5. They're now 10.5. The total from 50 down to 48.5. We do hear possibility 30% of thunderstorms Monday night at Pittsburgh. How do you see this one?
Yeah, it's another game where the line has just moved too much for me to maybe keep my original opinion. I like Florida State immediately, but now the line's up to 10.5. We have to rethink into that line. Florida State, of course, has to replace E.J. Manuel, and the new quarterback is going to be Jameis Winston. He just blew everybody away in spring practice. One of the other quarterbacks transferred a few days later because it was so obvious that Winston was going to be the starter. They have 4 starters back on the offensive line. Defensive line is a little bit experienced, but the linebacker and secondary is a solid. They did lose 11 starters overall, but Florida State is like many top-notch schools. They can just reload every year and not have much problem. Pittsburgh, 5 starters return on offense. The offense could be a problem here, especially early in the season. The new quarterback is Tom Savage. You might remember him. He was at the Rutgers a long time ago. 4 years ago, he was at Rutgers, and he went to Arizona. Now he's at Pitt. They don't have a lot of experience at running back. Isaac Bennett is back there. Rashal Shell is the other one. He's questionable for this game with a knee injury. 3 starters return to the offensive line. They're going to try to mix and match there to get everything right there in the offensive line. Devin Street's back at wide receiver. He caught 75 passes last year. The defense was good. They got a great defense last year, and most of those starters are back. But the thing is, that was a Big East conference schedule last year. This year it's an ACC conference, and that could make a difference. Last year in the bowl game, Pitt was blown out by an SEC team, Mississippi, 38-17. So I'll stick with Florida State here, even though the line keeps going up. But if it goes up any further, I might lay off the game. But I'll take Florida State in this game, John.
What stands out for me is the quarterback rotation, as you mentioned, very inexperienced. You got Jameis Winston of Florida State. He's a freshman, a highly heralded freshman. He was one of the nation's top high school prospects in 2012. He redshirted last year. He's a dual-threat guy, but again, very raw. This will be his first game. And when quarterback Clint Trickett took a look at him, he decided to transfer out. So really, it's all on Winston. And then you've got Tom Savage. Hasn't played since 2010, so you really don't know what you're going to get out of these offenses and the quarterbacks, but you do know it's probably not going to be a wide-open attack. Both teams have very sound running games that they can go to. If you like to play totals, that's going to chew up the clock. And you mentioned the defenses. Boy, Florida State last year, 14.7 points per game, one of the top defensive lines in the country. They also have one of the best offensive line, so if they want to run the football, which I think they will have success this game. And even Pittsburgh was very good on defense last year, 21 points per game allowed. They've got very good pass rush. And Florida State is on a 23-13-1 run under the total. So I think you're going to see more field goals probably than touchdowns and a limited offensive output from both teams. And that's another common theme here in August and September, defenses being ahead of the offenses. Okay, let's get to some best bets for the week. We'll start with you, Jeff, and tell everybody about that special.
Yeah, my best bet on college football is going to be Cincinnati over Purdue, and this is a tremendous special I have. It's 2 weeks, $14 for 14 days. Not just college football, you also going to get NFL and baseball. I'm on a 10-2 run in baseball. Plus, when you call, you're going to get a high roller release. It's off for $14. Just call LVSS at 1-866-575-8916, 1-866-575-8916. 14 days, $14 in all the sports.
Okay, and remember, Jim Feist is on that 22-10 NFL preseason high roller run. You got college football coming up, and his special, you get 30 days of plays, college football, NFL, and baseball, 30 days for $30. And when you sign up, it's going to include a high roller release. That's a $500 play by itself online. I mentioned those platinums that are 22-10. That's what a $500 play is, a high roller release. And if you want to get that from Jim, 1-866-841-1655. My best bet will be the total on that Georgia-Clemson game. I think it's too high, and it will go under the total. All right, that'll do it for the college football edition of Proline. Make sure you check out the NFL edition on jimfeist.com. We will be back again next Thursday at 9 a.m. Pacific with another edition of the college version of Proline. Good luck, everyone, and we'll see you then.